Hi, I'm Billy, one of the Fuji guys, here to show you the latest lenses from the Fujifilm lineup. These are the Fujinon XF lenses that fit the Fujifilm X Pro 1 as well as the Fujifilm XE1 currently in our lineup. They are APS-C censored cameras, and of course the lenses are meant for APS-C sensors, so they're not full frame lenses. If you had any questions on that, so I'm going to go through each camera lineup and go and explain how they work and I guess some specs on the lens itself. So first, looking at lens, I have it in order of focal length. We have the 14mm, 18mm, 35mm, then the 60mm, and then at the end is an 18 to 55 zoom lens. And again, with using these lenses with the X Pro 1 and with the XE1, you're going to get a 1.5 magnification factor on that. Okay, so let's take a look at the 14mm lens. This is a brand new lens for Fuji. It's an f2.8 lens. It uses a 58mm thread, so if you have any filters, that's the size for this lens. This lens is one of the first lenses that actually have sort of a distance marking on it, as you can see. First off, I want to show you got your aperture controls here. It goes from f2.8 all the way to 22. A basically is the automatic setting, and again you can just rotate that between, and they do move by 1/3 stops, just like any XF lenses. This is probably one of the cool features of the Fuji system, because you have these direct access controls to aperture on the lens, and of course the shutter speeds on the body of the camera. So that's just a quick look there. This is sort of the focus marking. The way it works is that you have this little ring slider here. It's actually on automatic focus right now, and as you slide this down, you now have it on manual focus, and as you can see, you have the distance scale here. This is your, I guess, focus point. And let's say, for example, that I have the aperture set to an f16, just to make it easier to see. Okay, so if I set the focus point to be about 25 centimeters, what you're going to see is at f16, my anything that's going to be in focus, or the depth of field, is going to be in between, I guess, 1 feet and approximately 0.7 feet. And again, if I rotate that, again, it's quick to see that if I set it up maybe to 3 feet, at f16, it's going to be 5 feet and just a little more than 1 feet ahead, maybe about 1.5 feet, that everything is going to be in focus. And that's the way that works. And again, pushing it back up brings it back into the autofocus system on the camera, and down becomes manual focus. So you can actually use the camera pre-focus using the shutter button, and then when you really want to fine-tune stuff, just pull it down, and then you can manually focus at that point. So that's kind of cool to see. And that's the XF 14mm f2.8 lens. Quite sharp, and hopefully I can put some images up for you to see some examples shot with the 14mm lens. Right beside it, of course, you have the 18mm f2, and again, the filter thread on it is the 52mm threads. The Fujinon uses as spherical lenses. Super EBC coating on all these lenses are what we call the electron beam coating, and it actually prevents internal flaying, and really makes the images have less of those type of issues. Again, you got your manual focusing ring in the front. You got your aperture dial here. Again, you got from f2 all the way up to f16, and then you got 1/3 stop controls in between. And again, it's one of our slimmest lenses. So if you take it out here, as you can see, it's quite small. And if I compare that back to the 14mm lens, so I want to show you that. Again, it is also quite small. And I'll line up these lenses again so that you can see the height between those. Okay, so that's just the 18mm, and again, a great lens. If we look at the 14mm, it's great for, I guess, landscape photography, true landscape photography. And then you got the f2, which is, you can work it with landscape as well, but it's not the exact focal length. Then you got one of my favorite lenses. This is the Fujinon XF 35mm f1.4 lens. This is one of the sharpest lenses out in the marketplace, I believe. And looking at the images I've shot with this is actually quite incredible. The filter thread on this is again a 52mm thread. Again, you got your manual focus ring. You got your aperture controls again through this here, all the way from f1.4 to f16. And then you got 1/3 stops in between. And again, the A basically is the automatic aperture in all of the lenses. So if you don't want to control aperture, you can set it to that dial. And just looking at that again, it's quite small. And the whole idea behind these type of systems really is to reduce the size of your equipment as well as your weight, while maintaining the image quality that you're actually used to, and whether it's your full frame camera sensor or just a high quality APS-C sensor. Right beside that, of course, is another prime lens. This is actually the Fujinon XF 60mm f2.4 lens. It's considered, I guess, a macro lens, if you wanted to say that, as well as, of course, I call it a candid portrait lens. It's about a 39mm thread, so it's one of the smallest threads on the Fujinon series. Again, you got your manual focus ring right here, and of course your aperture control dials in front, all the way starting from f2.4 via the 1/3 stops in between up to f22. Taking out the body cap, as you can see, it is also quite a nice small lens for its equivalency. And that would be about a 90mm equivalency on the X Pro 1 and XE1. Then you have a first zoom lens that's really currently available as a kit for the XE1 camera. This is the XF18 to 55 f2.8 f4 lens. The LM stands for the linear motor, which is the focusing mechanism on it. So it's actually quite quiet and very, very fast as well compared to all the current lenses with that. It is an OIS lens, so it's our first lens in this zoom that offers optical image stabilization, and it uses, again, a thread size of about 58mm. Again, you got your manual focusing ring. It's quite smooth. Then you got your zoom ring as well, and you got your markings from 18 to 55. And then you have your aperture controls. These are actually, because the lens is available aperture f2.8 to f4, as you zoom in, zoom out, the aperture is going to change. So Fuji decided not to put any aperture markings on this. However, this is your aperture controls via 1/3 stops again, and you'll see the aperture display on the back of your camera as you connect it. In addition to that, there's a few extra switches on this camera because of the uniqueness of the zoom lens. You have your OIS system. You can turn it on or off. It gives you about a 4-stop improvement with it on, of course. And if you're using a tripod, then generally you do want to have it turned off because it's very stable. Then you have your aperture controls, and you have automatic aperture, which the camera decides, or you can set it to the manual aperture mode right there. And again, just taking out the body cap on the bottom, as you can see, it is quite a nice lens. And if I compare that to the 60mm lens, there's not a whole lot of difference in size. Again, the great thing about this system really is about how compact these lenses will be for you. And again, buying a compact camera system, it's all about reducing size and weight while maintaining image quality. So that's a look at the lens itself. I know you've seen some other videos which talks about some of these lenses attached to the camera, and I kind of show you that. Let's just show you some of the hoods now with the camera as well. You got the hood that comes with the 18 to 55mm lens, and again, if I can find the markings on that, just attach it and it locks in place. And of course, you can also reverse the lens so that you can actually store it properly away. And I always have to fiddle with this thing just to get it to align properly. There we go. And I'm just going to put the cap that's included back onto that. Then you got of course, the 60mm f2.4, and it has quite a hefty lens hood. And again, I'm just going to find the markings and attach it on. And as you can see, quite nice. And this lens is also reversible as well. So just tighten everything up. And again, I'm going to try to put that back into the lens hood. And again, not the best of system because the lens is so small, it's hard to hold, but there you go. And again, the tiny little 39mm cap that fits that. Then you got your 35mm lens. Okay, so you got your cap going on, and then you got your lens hood. This lens hood, again, if I find the markings on it, locks it in place, and it's a nice looking square hood. You got your 18mm again, attach that on. And again, all these lenses include the hood, so that's a great little feature. And of course, my last lens, because it's a new lens, it's really not out yet, and so I don't have the hood for it yet, but it will also include a hood. And again, that's it. Just, you know, I had a chance to play with this lens this weekend. I can tell you it's quite a nice lens. It's very, very sharp, and I do have a couple of images. I actually shot at f2.8, and you can see how sharp the image is. And I took some wide shots too, and edge to edge wise, it's really nice. With the majority of these lenses, you got the 18, 35, and 60mm lenses. If you have the X Pro 1, XE1, pretty much the firmware on the camera is fine. But if you end up buying the 18 to 55mm lens, and eventually when the 14mm lens is available, you will have to update the firmware on both the XE1 and the X Pro 1 in order to make it compatible. You can also visit our website and download those firmware. One of the greatest, I guess, change to our firmware updates is that it doesn't wipe your custom settings anymore, so that when you do update, you're not having to go back and readjust all the settings you actually perfected with the camera. So again, that's just a quick little look at the various lenses, and again, just lining up. As you can see, we currently have 4 prime lenses as well as 1 zoom lens. By the end of 2013, we're going to have a total of 11 lenses. 10 to 11 lenses, and we're going to have a longer zoom lens. This is an 18 to 55, but we're going to have sort of that 55 to 200 lens. We're going to have a 53 1.4, which is a nice portrait lens. I really like that lens. We're going to have sort of the 23 1.4, which is equivalent to a 35mm. That's what a lot of people are looking at, because obviously with the X100 with the 35mm equivalent lens, they want to have that on this interchangeable body, so that's coming down the road, and it's an f1.4. We also got a Pancake Lens coming out, as well as a wide zoom. And again, this is a great time to invest in this system, because not only is the sensor and the technology very, very high end, but it's going to give you the quality of a full frame camera, so you're not going to lose anything. You reduce a lot of the size and weight, and again, you can kind of choose what lens you want. And these lenses, as you see here, no means are they any kit lens, especially the zoom lens. These are very high quality Fujinon lenses, quite sharp, great build quality, and you can really appreciate, I guess, photography again with these, and enjoy shooting with these lenses. Okay, until then, I'm Billy, one of the Fuji Guys.